Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Established in 3223 as a haulage company, Takada made the bold decision to recruit and train its own security forces. Over the years, a series of highly effective laser weaponry was also developed to support these security teams, and they garnered galactic critical acclaim. The TK Zenith, a burst-fire pistol that can strip shields in no time. The TK Eclipse, a rapid-fire carbine for close-up thermal destruction. And the TK Aphelion Assault Rifle, a powerful and precise weapon of total shield destruction. On the battlefield, you know what's needed. Takada.
You've flown ships at max speed. You've felt the power of the 30-megawatt mining laser. You've experienced the efficiency of the MB4 mining machine.
Wow.
But it leaves every hardcore miner with just one question.
Why can't I get a shave that's that fast, close, and efficient?
Introducing the Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
It's so smooth.
Combining the power of a mining laser with the convenience of a drone.
It's like every hair is targeted by a fighter and destroyed.
Saracen's patented shaving drone attaches to your face at the start of the day. Leave it to do its work, and when you come back to check, your face is shaved.
He's so smooth.
It's like I'm mining my face.
The Saracen MB5 shaving drone.
Now I feel manly.
Saracen Shaving, making shaving an unnecessary adventure.
I was overseeing the delivery of some slaves to the starport in Exios, and a cleaning robot had just washed the floor, but not left a warning sign. I had to run after a slave that was escaping, and I slipped and fractured my wrist. I was delayed for 10 whole minutes while the Medicomp repaired the damage. My time is billable. Can I get compensation?
Yes, you can.
I was on a regular trading run back to Sol, and it was my job to repaint the outside of the ship. I was given the wrong kind of EVA clamps. Nothing bad actually happened, but it did give me a fright. Can I get compensation?
Yes, you can.
I was checking some robots through customs when I distinctly heard an official call the robots clanks. I was deeply offended, even though I'm not a robot myself. That's their word. You're not allowed to use it. Can I claim for moral outrage?
Yes, you can. At Cowell and McGrath, we are now taking any kind of legal action. No case too small, no justification too frivolous. If you've been lightly inconvenienced, embarrassed, or in any way put out, then someone should be made to give you money. Don't be a stupid clank.
Excuse me?
Cowell and McGrath, taking on any case, playing the percentages.
Have you found yourself in a spot of bother with those Xenos messing up your backyard?
Oh, why are there Thargoids in my system?
Can't leave the house without fear of a hyperdiction?
Can't even get to work. Not that they've noticed, because everything's on fire there too.
Sick of the amount of time it takes to scrub the caustic damage from those hard-to-reach places?
Oh, fuck! Oh, it f***ing hurts! Ow.
Introducing Dr. Pope's Caustic Burn Cream. Apply a few drops to the affected area and feel the euphoria of instant relief. After that, just wash the burn away.
It's like it was meant to happen.
It's so good, you can even use it on your ships.
Thanks, Dr. Pope. My ship smells brand new.
Dr. Pope's Caustic Burn Cream, the miracle that can happen. Side effects may include dizziness, constipation, an itching sensation, worship of an obviously aggressive false deity, death, and loss of sense of smell. Should you experience any of these symptoms, please contact your doctor immediately. Not Dr. Pope though, he's busy.
welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous,
and the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads.
A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place?
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 445 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix to Fire, otherwise known as Colin Ford. I'm the Chief Archivist on Lave Station, but joining me in the orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Ed Levice, otherwise known as Ben Moss Woodward.
Yeah, cold showers are wonderful things, as is iced coffee.
Always nice to know he has to have a cold shower before getting on the show.
Okay.
Might as well start with a nice clean slate.
Yeah.
I am very clean. I am fresh out of the shower.
We also have our SRV Banksy, Commander Alec Turner.
Good evening, everyone.
And finally, we have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit. Hello. If you wish, you can join us live. We're hanging out in Open. Not at the Orange Sidewinder Bar this time. We're at the Brooks Abyss in Ross 788. And we'll get on to why we're there later on. If you can't get to us in-game, you can also join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat. Or go straight to twitch.tv/Lave Radio, or look up Lave Radio on Twitter, look up Lave Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, which I don't know whether it's still allowed on Twitch, to be honest. There seems to be some land of confusion over in Twitch land at the moment.
Waiting for confirmation, we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
My official attitude towards Twitch, if they start acting like cunts, fuck them.
Really? Okay, you go down to your 3.
Yeah, that's just my personal feeling, of course.
Other opinions are available. Commander Ed Levice does not represent the opinions of Lave Radio or any of the other crew members.
But if you're going to act like a dick, then...
I mean, it's right. Okay, I'm not going to defend Twitch in any way, because a lot of the things that they do are really dumb, and a lot of this has been really dumb. And I'm unsure why they're passing this on to non-affiliates and whacking it into the terms of service. But it's something that we're waiting on a resolution from. So before you get up on your high horse and kick off, wait until we've got a full confirmation about what the situation is. But for the meantime, we're streaming everywhere.
Yay! Yes. Otherwise, we will kick off at some point. But
save your energy, Ben. Do it when it's proper.
Oh,
yes.
I can maintain this level of anger. Don't worry.
I mean, I know.
I mean, it's almost as if he's shooting his load too early.
It's all right. It happens to a lot.
And he's had a cold shower.
That's why he needed the cold shower.
As I just said on Twitch, why not both?
Gross.
Very, very true. Right, well, moving on from there, let's have a look at what the crew has been up to for the last week or so. And obviously, It's been quite exciting for Commander Alec Turner because of
It's
Buckyball.
Buckyball week. Yee-hoo!
Yes. How are you doing with the buckyballing then?
I have been doing buckyballing. Yes, it's been. This race is bloody awesome. It really is. I mean, they're all good, but I am having an absolute ball with this one. All these tunnels. What's really good is seeing so many people getting stuck into having a crack at the trench run, which is this thing in a Coriolis where you have to kind of navigate down these sort of internal trenches that a lot of people, I suspect, don't even know exist, which run round the inside of the superstructure around the mail slot, and everyone's giving it a go. It's which is great to see. Yeah.
I haven't tried yet, although I've chickened out of it a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if it's going to take you more than a minute and a half, then it's not worth it because that's your bonus. But it's it's good fun. It's good giving it a go. I was going to recount a typical day in the life of a buckyballer, just to give folks who haven't participated a sense of how things goes. So prior to today, when I went off to visit some colliding worlds and take a break from buckyballing, the day before, let's see, what did I do? The first couple of days, all the jumps, well, not all the jumps, but several of the jumps were obscured by planets, which is really annoying when you're buckyballing because it means you either have to spend ages in Supercruise until it's not obscured or jump somewhere else, either of which adds a good minute to your time. So I think it was yesterday morning, finally, none of my jumps are obscured. I thought, right, I'm going to lay down a proper decent time now. Did 2 runs in an Eagle, which both felt pretty much flawless. I couldn't point at any major mistakes. The times of both runs a good 20 seconds slower than my previous best with lots of obscure jumps. Buckyball's like that sometimes. You do a really good run, you think, oh, that's going to be a winner, and you go back and you check the time, and it's 30 seconds slower than your previous best, and you just think, why? I don't understand. So anyway, that was annoying. So then I thought, okay, I better get a time on the regulation Cobra leaderboard. So let's see, what did I do? I switched to the Cobra. And first thing that happened is I was completely unfamiliar with the Cobra's poor handling after spending several days racing around in an Eagle. So the first couple of times I literally just crashed into the mail slot trying to get out because it didn't turn as well as I was expecting. Then I got the hang of that, and then I kind of fluffed the going through the trench, which I'm doing the minute I take off because I don't want to do it right at the end of a run and fluff it. So I'm doing the hard bit right at the beginning. And again, sort of fluffed that a bit until I got the hang of that. Then on the 4th attempt, I took off, and I don't know if anyone else has had this. I've had this a good 4 or 5 times in this race. I take off at this Coriolis, I go through the mail slot, and my frame rate plummets to 9 frames a second. Sometimes
Jesus.
8. Yeah, absolutely plummets. And I challenge anyone, even Shay Blackwood, to go down a flight assist off trench at 9 frames a second. So that's a relog, which fixes it immediately.
Right.
Then what? So then I'm on to my 4th attempt, I think, by that point, and yes, I mean, this is classic buckyballing. So for some reason, sometimes you get confused. One of the things of buckyballing is to be very clear in your head and know exactly what you're doing and when. And I just wasn't concentrating, so I get to one of the stops where I'm convinced is the stop that has a federal capital ship in it. So the minute I drop in, I spend what feels like about 5 hours scrolling up and down my nav panel going, where the bloody hell's the federal capital ship? And it turns out it's not the system that has that. It's the first stop on my route is the one with the planetary base. Abandon run, back to start, try again.
Oh dear.
So now we're on to 5th run. And let's see, what am I doing? Oh yeah, so 5th run. So I'm in the Cobra, and I know that some of my routes I've got 2 jumps, whereas it's all 1 jump in my Eagle. So I do my first jump, and I arrive at the star, and I'm the FSD's cooling down, and I'm thinking, okay, I've got 1 more jump to do, 1 more jump to do. The instant the FSD cools down, I hit the hyperspace jump button, and I get it doesn't work. And I think, oh, I've been too quick off the trigger. I must have caught it just before the cooldown. So I hit it again, and that turns out to be a double hit. I didn't have another jump at all, and I basically do the emergency drop out of Super Cruise because I've tapped it twice.
Oops.
Back to the start, look at the clock. That is my morning session done. Nothing on the leaderboard for me that day. And that's so yeah, that's the typical life of a buckyballer. Some days you have great runs, other days everything you do is either slower than you did before or you're just all over the place. Been good otherwise though. Great race.
Excellent. I've yet to make I was supposed to do my run on Sunday, but unfortunately I got caught up a little bit, which I'll probably go into later. Right, Ben, what you been up to this week?
Well, I think the highlight of my excitement for the week has probably been giving blood yesterday.
Eee.
So yeah, I've been being nagged by the blood transfusion service to come and give blood because yeah, apparently they need some. And I was like, you know what, I can probably get somewhere on Monday, so I'll combine that with various other things and see if I can make everything work. And I could, and I did. And then myself and the girls there had a good laugh talking about tuck biscuits.
Lovely.
Yeah, because the tuck biscuits were melting.
Melting?
They were.
Wow.
Anything in game?
In game, I've been. I'm hopefully I might be able to do some proper gaming in Elite this weekend. Hopefully, so in hope of that, I've taken about half an hour to start engineering a Maelstrom Mamba.
Maelstrom Mamba. Oh, that sounds good.
Because so basically, I've got it. She's running about 20% at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still engineering her and things like that, and I've got to go and get the appropriate widgets and bits and bobs to actually turn it into something that'll maybe let me do something. But hopefully I might be able to do some of that over the weekend. We'll see.
Excellent. That does sound. Yeah, I must admit I had a bit of a challenge doing that with my clipper. It took a while because it's been a while since I've done engineering, and then I found out I'm out of mats, so I had to go and do a lot of.
We'll come into a lovely thing when we get into community news, and yeah, I've been gushing a bit again.
Cool. Can I chip in because something Ben said just reminded me about the Maelstrom Mamba. Did anyone see? It's annoying me that I can't remember who it was, but it's one of the forum sort of luminaries. Managed to get into the Maelstrom in. Was it an eagle? Yeah, it was an eagle.
An eagle?
Yeah, with 2 utility slots.
Jeez, they couldn't do anything when they were there, but they got there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, basically what he did is he didn't have he obviously didn't have the caustic sinks, but what he basically did was just run on silent running and boosting the whole time, so he was burning off his caustic the whole time. So all he really needed was so he just needed the neutralizer to get past the pulse and then just use heat to constantly burn off the caustic. Very cool.
That does sound cool. Oh, wow. That's something I'm going to have to look into. Just see what's the daftest ship you can get into the Maelstrom in. And don't
you're going to have to do it's going to be an adder.
Oh, don't. Just no. Just no. Why? Oh, Commander Psykit. How have you been?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. I have been. What have I been up to? We watched Across the Spider-Verse, which was amazing. We watched that last week. Really, really good film. Holy shit! Like breaking boundaries. One of the most beautiful films I've ever seen. Just like every single frame. There is not a single frame where I wasn't like, whoa, look at this, it's amazing. So I waxed lyrical about that for quite a while. The other thing that I haven't really done a lot like that doesn't involve me watching shows and TV stuff and playing video games this week, which standard Psychic, but
I also bushed through the entirety of the 3 seasons of Ted Lasso in the last week. Well, last week and a bit.
Right.
And that should be compulsory viewing for every young adult growing up, specifically men, but every legitimately every young adult growing up. You do not have to like football. I'm not a big football fan. You do not have to like football to get a lot out of that show. It is lessons like against toxic masculinity, homophobia, racism, all of those kind of stuff in this beautiful, wholesome bow that is Ted Lasso, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And if Hannah Waddingham could just go and, you know, step on me at any point, that would be perfect too. She is a wonderful, beautiful human being, and that is that. I should say. In game, on Thursday, I did I played far too much Elite Dangerous on a very, very hot day, and fucked up my hands again, which is great. Again, my hands are pretty right at the beginning of a fucking bucketball that I really, really wanted to do. I'm hoping that I might be able to get at least 1 day in or half a day trying to get it done, because I really want to participate. And at the moment, both of my thumb on my right hand is perpetually in a splint for the most part at the moment. It's not currently, because I've like been experimenting with it not being in a splint, but as you can imagine, it makes it kind of difficult to hold a joystick currently, and I fly like ass pretty much all of the time, but slightly less like ass when I'm actually using the controls that I'm used to. So yeah, I'm a little bit out of action as far as Elite is concerned at the moment. However, I overdid it for a very good reason. On Friday, Operation Witch Hunt and other groups of commanders, either groups or independents, kicked Azimuth Biotech out of the last system that we are able to kick them out of, which is really cool. And it was a mammoth effort from a lot of different groups and people, but they are no longer in. There is no more drama in One Drama. There's one more system where they could take over and they could expand, and we're just like in a perpetual state of keeping an eye on that until Salvation rears his ugly head in his Guardian mech suit. I've also been playing the No Man's Sky expedition. I dipped my toe into that today, and the new expedition is like full of story and full of lore, and it's really fun, and it's a nice easy one. And hey, they also have rainbows in the game, so what's not to like? But that's about it.
Excellent.
If you get Azimuth out of everywhere, and then we get a CG that says bring all your Titans tissue samples to Azimuth because they'll give you great stuff. Where do we go?
So you can't. There's 3 systems, but we can't remove them from this.
Oh, okay.
There's T-Towery, where Hindmine is locked to Azimuth on the back of the Tanner CG, where he went rogue and was like, I know that Taurus Mining Ventures are up to something, but when Taurus Mining Ventures won, Hindmine got locked to Taurus Mining Ventures that subsequently became Azimuth Biotech. There's also the megaship that gives out the Mbuni permit. That one belongs to Azimuth, so they will always have a presence in that system. I can never remember the name of the system. I think it's like LR something or other, LR random numbers, and then Mbuni itself, and they are the only faction present in Mbuni, so we can't force them out of there. But it's all good. We've done what we can, and I've got my BDI on you.
Bravo.
Excellent. That's what I like to see. Azimuth being reduced to just 3 systems.
Well, we'll see what happens in like maybe Thursday, who knows?
Yeah, just have to wait and see, I guess. As for myself, well, I've been going a little bit mental for Mass Effect Andromeda. That game is absolutely massive, and I'm actually getting into it, but it is still very flawed. The facial animations are go and compare to the Mass Effect Special Edition that came out last year. It's just awful. the memes of the characters' faces that don't seem to, or expressions that don't seem to match what they're saying. It's yeah. But apart from that, the game, I'm actually enjoying the plot and the gameplay, which is good. However, I have been playing an awful lot of Elite Dangerous across all 3 different accounts. Basically, I have started my my logging of all the different mission types and managed to already get myself notoriety and wanted by about 6 different powers already. So I must be doing something right.
Did you find a list?
I haven't found a full list. So what I'm doing is I'm basically going through each system that's in a different state, and there are 20 different states. I didn't think there were that many because all the missions are different dependent on the state. Yeah. And, some of them will be repeats. It'll say things like, go get this cargo off this place or liberate bootleg cargo from this place, and it's basically the same kind of mission but with different flavor text. But yeah, it's going there. I did my first megaship scan over the weekend as well, which was a little underwhelming. It's incredibly easy and it pays well. Why am I not doing that before? Yes. Oh, and I did a quick tutorial on Twitch for N. Wiley because he wanted to go exploring and wanted to see how difficult plant scanning was. So 15 minutes later, I showed him how easy it was to do. It's finding the blasted things rather than actually scanning them. But yeah. So yeah. I'm getting things checked off the list, and I'll probably be putting out a spreadsheet for the rest of you to laugh at later. So, let us move on to the development news. Well, let's be honest, there hasn't been much until today when they announced that Frameshift Live will be turning up on Thursday at 4 p.m. British Summertime or 3 p.m. UTC. And yes, they will be a special guest that will help us delve into yet another untold mystery that lies ahead. And hopefully we'll get Chapter 16 as well.
Yes, sneak peek and a date, yes.
Yeah, fingers crossed. No promises, no guarantees. Haven't heard that in a while. Unfortunately, we don't have anything else in the way of development news. What we do have, unfortunately, is, last week we announced the passing of Commander Plater. Well, this week, unfortunately, we were all shocked by this, that ex-executive producer of Elite Dangerous, Michael Brooks, passed away sometime early last week. Now, Michael was obviously involved in a lot of the early development work with Elite Dangerous and saw it through to, I think, about Horizons, or halfway through some of the Horizons season. And he moved on to Jurassic Park. He was incredibly well liked by the community. He was an absolute stalwart of Lave cons. He turned up to the first one, absolutely stole the show. And of course, he worked a lot with Alan Stroud and the other authors to help create and Dave Hughes, in order to create the actual lore for Elite Dangerous.
Are you still there, Colin, or was that just the end of the sentence?
I think we've technically lost Colin.
I think we have lost the Colin.
We have.
Yeah. And hopefully not in the same sense. As Colin said, Mike was at the very first LaveCon, and I've just got so many great memories of various LaveCons with Mike Brooks. I think my favorite, in the early days of Elite, we didn't really have a community management team. But obviously Frontier was just a much smaller company. And Mike was on the forums all the time. And even though he wasn't a community manager and he was a producer of thing, doing a shitload of other jobs, he was just so active in just talking and communicating with the community all the time, which is probably how we wound up coming to the very first LaveCon.
Yeah, I suspect Elite Dangerous would be a very different game without Michael Brooks, actually.
Oh, it really, really would. And I mean, he kept coming to all the LaveCons, and he. Okay, so I'm not. This isn't necessarily a Frontier thing. This is you'll see, like at trade shows and things like that, that game development staff, and they'll go into their own little game development cliques, and maybe just talk amongst themselves, and they'll interact with the community and things like that. But Mike just dove headfirst in. He was exactly the same as the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Super friendly guy.
And he was so much one of us, and he was the community. And he was so much one of us that I think one of my best memories of LaveCon is sitting up till stupid o'clock in the morning, playing Cards Against Humanity with Mike and various other people, drinking whiskey out of our own bottle of whiskey because we'd managed to drink the bar dry already. And I don't know how much was drunk, but a significant amount was drunk. I called it about 3 o'clock in the morning, thinking I've got to try and be professional, and we've got a show to start at 10 o'clock the next day. Mike crawled into the main booth at the back of Sedgebrook Hall sometime mid-afternoon, looking very ready to move on. And he just quietly packed up his books and things like that he'd been showing off, and then just quietly toddled off. And hopefully he was sober enough to drive by then.
I missed that evening, but I do remember the state you lot were in the next morning.
I've heard stories.
Tales of this legendary game of cards.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic, and I regretted being responsible, but I felt I had to be responsible because it's not really cricket if people are coming along to the show and you're standing there with a great big hangover, or that's assuming you even make it. So I don't think that's cool. So, but I was really, really enjoying myself, and I had to go and be boring, which sucks. And then I know since then he's sort of remained in touch with quite a few members of the community, and I know recently actually, you guys know Steve Kirby, Wendy?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know how Steve Kirby made plushies, and he made Mike Brooks an unknown artifact plushie.
Mike went off. Michael cuddling the thing, isn't there?
Yeah. So I know Mike recently went off and put that up for auction to special effect, because he was moving on to what looked like a really exciting stage of his life. And then, obviously, life decided to take another turn, unfortunately.
Yeah, they haven't released any details about what actually happened. Frontier haven't said anything. There have been a couple of acknowledgements from other members of staff, which is always the same. We think, I mean, I don't know what to say. Really.
I'm gutted that it took me by surprise. Mike was lovely.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was a couple of things retrospectively when you look back at his social media, you suddenly think, "Oh, what's something happening?" Because
I don't know. I mean, I know that he'd just gone off and got himself a bus and was moving into what looked like van life, and I thought that looked freaking awesome.
Yeah, and I thought that was one of the reasons why he was selling off all his stuff. But then, I don't know.
We can only speculate, and it's none of our business.
Yeah.
Basically, it's his private life.
Yes, very true. I mean, one of the things that I did like about him was the fact that he did always want to engage the community. I mean, one of the things about the DDF was that we were all supposed to get sort of godlike powers and things like that. And one of the things that he did is he asked for the DDF's help in planning out the first Thargoid. Well, not a Thargoid war, but it was a war between the Federation and the Empire over the Barnacles, and that went down a storm. And basically, he organised all that himself, and it was phenomenal to see. And it's just a shame that Elite lost him to Jurassic Park, and then moved on. So I think it's time. We will move on to the community news. Ben, you can start off with the community news this time. You want to gush about something.
I do. I want to gush all over ED Odyssey Material Helper, which we always seem to gush about.
But this is the first time you've used it in anger, isn't it?
Oh, it's not the first time I've used it in anger, but I was using it. I've been using it a wee chunk earlier today, starting to engineer my Mamba. And I was like, okay, well, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. And it went off and showed me all the materials I needed. And then showed me the ones I didn't have. But then what I really liked was, I was like, okay, I know I need to go to this engineer and this engineer and this engineer. But it's doing some kind of route plotting thing to go off and say, right, go to this guy, then go to that guy, then go to that guy, and you're sorted. And I thought that was just such a lovely little feature, just to save us the faff of having to work it out ourselves, basically. And these guys are pushing ahead so much, it's ridiculous. And yeah, I love that tool. It is awesome.
It sounds like they're really responding to community requests and kind of doing regular updates and features.
Mm-hmm.
Great, good stuff.
Yeah, so if you enjoy using that tool, please remember it has a donate button. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm going to bang the drum up for everybody that does third-party tools like that have a donate button, and you do get the feeling that they're not used as often as they should be. I know I'm guilty of it as well as everybody else.
Yeah, no, same here. I think it's worth saying. I think we do forget. we just get so used to seeing it,
Yeah, very much so. Right, now there is a shepherd's warning. Oh, good grief. Sayufli just... guess what? ZL-O B51-02 a beagle is two planets that are colliding or have collided. They have lots of folks out there taking photos, including Alec, who have decided to race in it in an SRV. So, what did you do, Alec?
Well, I was there this morning.
Planets.
It was funny. I was watching. I jumped into, while I was at work yesterday, I jumped into. I think Burpit had a sort of semi-impromptu stream, and I noticed that. So I sort of was watching that on Discord. I don't know if anyone's ever been, but I'm a bit of a fan of planetary collisions now. I've never seen one before, but after this morning, it's like, right, I'm definitely going to more of these. But yeah, so basically, I guess it's a bug in the game. Some planets, I guess, do planets have elliptical orbits? I suppose.
They normally do. They normally follow orbital mechanics.
Pretty much every planet is actually an ellipse.
Yeah, and they have complex orbits, and so just occasionally, for whatever slight miscalculation, somebody hasn't set the boundaries right in Stellar Forge or something, but occasionally planets actually pass through each other. I'm saying this for people that don't sort of know, but what happens? The game obviously isn't intended to model it. So what actually happens is it tends to be quite a gentle transition. But it's nevertheless a spectacular thing to go and visit because, you literally sort of end up with sort of overhangs and corners as these two planets are slowly mushing through each other, and you can you can fly just down the corner where they're touching. If you get lucky, you might be able to land on one or the other. Gravity, or rather, I suppose, instancing with one or the other of the two bodies gets a bit weird. So if anyone's ever flown to Mitterrand Hollow, you'll sort of know that your sort of frame of reference changes. So 1 minute you're very definitely not on Mitterrand Hollow and it's barreling towards you. And then suddenly you get within range of it, and suddenly your frame of reference is now Mitterrand Hollow, and so you sort of move with it. So when two planets are colliding, your frame of reference is typically with one and not the other. And so if you try and land on the other, you pass straight through it. And that can change as well, so it's a little bit unpredictable. But yeah, so I managed to go out this morning. It was only 12 jumps in a sort of explorer ship with a big jump range, so it's only sort of 15 minutes to get there. It's finished now, but just I don't know why I'm saying that. It's only 15 minutes, but you've missed it. Sorry, folks. But I went there this morning and managed to land an SRV, and then I effectively raced it. So the one planet was moving. It turns out at about 70 odd meters a second, I suppose 70-80 meters a second. This sort of wall of the other planet slowly moving across the landscape of the planet I was on. So I'm effectively outrunning it in the SRV with it just behind me. Yeah, it's bloody good fun actually. There's a link which we'll put in the show notes actually, but Canon have a calendar, not specifically for collisions, but it's a sort of general galactic events calendar, and it's full of these collisions. They've worked them out from all sorts of data that you can get from the journal and stuff. So the calendar is full of planetary collisions, and I really recommend going to see one because it's quite spectacular. Did anyone else go?
No. Oh, go on.
I would have loved to. I would have loved to. Unfortunately, not the case. However, the ever lovely Beetlejuice did send me a video of her struggling to get back onto her ship because of the gravitational pulls, and she just kept flying off the edge of the platform. She was, I think she's on the fleet on the Galnet News Digest fleet carrier at the time, and there might be a tiny bit of swearing, but every time she gets to it's Herculean, the effort, but she gets to the boarding point, and you can see the struggle and the fact that the gravities were playing against each other. But it took her a good few tries, but eventually she manages to actually get onto her ship, and I thought it was phenomenal and amazing, and she did such a good job. But it was also really, really funny, and she sent it to me because I couldn't do it, so I got to enjoy her vicariously experiencing it.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I mean, your game will crash.
Doesn't swear, does she?
Sorry?
Beetlejuice doesn't swear. She's
she's sweet. She definitely doesn't swear at all. Please don't check. Please, nobody check our DMs.
Oh dear.
Oh. I just had a client crash.
Who said a client crash?
The game just crashed on me. Oh well.
Oh my goodness.
I know. That hasn't happened for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it's better than Virgin Media crashing on you. Yeah. Alec, the one thing I did wonder is when these planets actually crash, do you end up going inside the model of one of the planets? If you're on the surface, do you go through the model of the other one?
Yeah, so in my video, which I guess we'll have the link to, it happens a couple of times. It's not very pretty. I kind of try and avoid it because it's an absolute sort of peeking behind the curtain. From one side, you've got a beautifully rendered planet with textures and detail and mountains and rocks, and then suddenly you're the other side, and it's just a rather ugly wireframe mesh and no textures. So they don't look very pretty. It's just a wireframe mesh really inside.
Ben, did you have Elvis Kremen in your ship when you crashed?
Apparently I did, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my ship didn't crash. Yeah, my ship didn't crash, I crashed.
Oh, right, you crashed.
Well, I didn't crash, the client crashed. Elite Dangerous crashed.
Yeah, okay. The upshot is you've just, because of that crash, poor Mr. Kremen is just hanging out there in Super Cruise, flying along just by himself.
I didn't even leave the station. Oh, well, I'm sure I'll find him floating somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, there used to be a bug in Elite Dangerous where if you disembarked with your SRV and drove for a little bit, all of a sudden you just sink straight into the model and you'd go to the center of the planet, just free falling, and you'd see the whole mesh in the inside, which was, yes, you're right, Alec. It does show a bit behind the curtain that you don't really want to see. But
Yeah, it's very cool from the one side, but yeah, a bit disappointing when you actually go through.
No caves. It's just a hollow hole.
Yeah, no strata, no magma.
Just the unending pool of death.
There was originally when Odyssey started. They fully rendered the entirety of the center of the planets, but that was the thing that was tanking everybody's frame rate, so they just had to remove it.
Magma tubes and moving moving tectonic plates. It was all there.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, and in the middle there was the Moray Starboat for all those undersurface options that were missing. Yeah.
And then right in the middle was a tropical paradise with dinosaurs.
That's where King Kong and Godzilla live. Yeah, okay, right.
Yeah.
We've got it. That's where there's a Jurassic Park crossover. And we
you know where
missed it.
Raxler could be in the center of one of these planets.
Raxler is the fancy metal on the way.
All right.
Oh, yes. Well, moving on from crashing planets, we have the Exo Rally Championship, which is basically a brand new SRV driving game from the folks that did Exo 1. There is a Twitter from Jay Weston explaining what this is. Alec, I take it you're going to be giving this a run, aren't you?
Yeah, so I wasn't familiar with this or Exo One actually, but a couple of people added me on the tweet and said calling Alec Turner kind of thing, and I went and looked, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, you can never tell from a promo video. They always look cool, but it does look really cool, and it's strangely reminiscent of the SRV that we all hate and or love. A slightly squatter SRV, but it's a whole game based on driving around planets in a little buggy, and it's got the same model of not only driving wheels that steer but also boosters and thrusters, so you can sort of pitch in the air. I saw a comment from the guy today. I think Jay Weston is one of, if not the lead developer on it. Somebody else had referenced Elite, and his response made me think he may not even have seen it, which is fascinating.
Yeah, I think this is actually ringing a couple of bells because one of the SRVs one of the driving machines they've got looks very SRV-like.
Yeah, it's kind of squat, and I don't know if it's got the same number of wheels, but I suppose you just would, wouldn't you? I mean, you need lots of suspension and stuff, so it's not entirely surprising. I'm not remotely suggesting that it's a copy. I've wish listed it on Steam because yeah, it looks cool.
Excellent. And of course, back over to you for the latest Buckyball latest.
Yeah, I sort of covered this really, but just to bung this in community news, so it races on now, runs until Sunday, and a pretty healthy pair of scoreboards for the two classes. We've got about a dozen entries in both so far, some familiar names and some brand new names, which is always great to see. Let me have a quick look. No surprise. Oh, Shay Blackwood. I mean, honestly, it wasn't enough that he just thrashed us all in the first championship. But this year, clearly his plan is to not only thrash us, but to do it in ridiculous ships to utterly humiliate everyone, the entire competition.
I don't think so. Don't knock the Orca because the Orca is a surprisingly fast and nimble ship.
Yeah, fair enough. On the face of it, when everyone else is in Imperial Couriers, Vipers, and Eagles, and then Shay goes like 2 minutes faster in an Orca, you think, oh, come on.
What chance have we got?
But yes, you're quite right. I am undermining the Orca. Anyway, so we've got Shay at the top. No, it is great to see. I'm going to say great. I was going to choose another word, but it is great to see is that Kevin the Stabber, who we've mentioned a few times, is climbing his way up the leaderboards from his first entry in Buckyball just a couple of months back. He is now in the lead in regulation.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
second, close behind Shay and Unlimited. So yeah, Kevin the Stabber's turned out to be one hell of a buckyball racer.
yeah, I mean that's out of absolute nowhere. I mean, I'm looking down at the list, and yeah, the usual suspects, and then all of a sudden newbies in there, which is great to see.
That's what Shay did. We were all happily racing along, bumbling, and this bloke Shay Blackwood turns up, and we were like, "Who's this new bloke?" And yeah, so yeah, you too can be one of the greats.
The Shay Blackwood of the regulation Cobra. Yeah. Yeah, I've set up for my run, but there's no way I'll be able to get that done in 18 minutes. No way.
It is quite a short race, actually. Funnily enough, despite all the challenges of flying through tunnels and things, actually the real challenge of the race is the usual super cruise approaches and obscure jumps, and the challenges are great fun, but on the whole, they're not difficult. They're not in a small ship. They're not that difficult.
Excellent. Right, well, we've got something new to announce. On Saturday, the 16th of September, at the Belfry Hotel in Nottingham, the Birds are putting on their first conference, which is called PitCon. We'll put a link in the show notes, or basically it's theburpit.com/pitcom, and they are going to be selling tickets to people, I think, early next week.
Tickets are available.
Sale now.
Tickets are available now. I didn't know whether or not they'd offered them to their subscribers and Patreons.
They
first.
did, but that's happened.
Oh, that's
and
out the way
there's still
now,
some
right?
left.
There's still some left. So yes, so the Birds are going to go and do their own conference. That happens on Saturday the 16th. I will be there. I will be taking the Elite Miniatures game down, like I will be to ECM, which is happening later. Oh no, that's happening earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so
PitCon is up in Nottingham, isn't it? And
it comes at Nottingham.
For anyone that I'm sure people know this already, but if you've ever listened to the Birds videos, or if you've hung out in their Discord, they gravitate the nicest bloody bunch of people I think you could possibly want to meet. So if you're looking for a really friendly, fun con, I pretty much guarantee this will be it. It will be a beautiful, fun, lovely day.
Excellent.
Oh, and also in the
Speaking
evening
of lovely days.
Hang on. Oh, look, in the evening, it's going to feature a live performance by Takoso with a virtual duet with musical maestro Alzo. So if you want to see Takoso play live, go to PitCon.
Meanwhile,
yeah, speaking of lovely days, if Nottingham's a bit far for you and you're stuck in the southwest and you're like, oh, I'd really like to meet up with some fellow commanders, 1st of July is gonna in Bristol. We're having a bit of a meetup. I will have details on a website at some point, probably tomorrow. Yeah, almost certainly tomorrow I will have details on a website, just confirming what's going on. But we have it's a small thing, a few beers in a garden that I've booked, and it should be really nice. If the weather's like this, it's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, sounds lovely. Honestly, no cons, and then suddenly 3 come along at once. It's a choice. It's great.
The 1st of July, isn't that the day the rain comes?
But not normally. Not if. When was LaveCon last? 2 years ago.
It was
last year.
Last year. It was right in the middle of that massive heat wave.
It was July, wasn't it?
End of June, beginning of July, wasn't it? That's why I aimed for that. But it's a beer garden, so it should be okay, and we have shade.
Yeah, and frankly, as much as I've always loved LaveCon, having a few pints in a beer garden is so much more chill than my kind of idea.
I can't wait. Also, I should clarify that if you've ever been on my stream and you've seen Artie on my stream, you will also get to meet Artie because it is still friendly. So Artie's coming.
Yay!
Lovely. That's what you want to hear.
He's going to be so cuddled.
He'll be so spoilt. It treats left, right, and centre out of that.
God.
Anyway, if you have a community event that is taking place soon and you would like us to talk about it across the airwaves, please tweet the crew at Lave Radio or email us at info@laveradio.com. So, what we'll do is go on to the in-game events and see what has been happening this week. Well, there's been 3 news events which have happened. The Alliance, on the Thursday the 8th of June, the Alliance has offered amnesty for the Thargoid cultists. They are obviously making a run from the Federation because they are the band in the Federation, which understandably is understandably angry because they've got something that it doesn't like to do with the Thargoids themselves. On Friday, the 9th of June, Azimuth has refocused on Titan research.
I reckon we're giving up for CG on Thursday. We haven't had one for 2 weeks. I reckon we're giving up for a CG. If there's not a counter from Aegis, I'm going to be very annoyed. After all the bloody work that we've just done.
Competing CG, take Titan tissue samples.
Yeah. That all we need. That's all we need. Just like something to see. Put money where mouth is. We've already done a fair amount of stuff.
Sorry. That said, I don't think it could be that because I think they're a little bit too niche, aren't they? Much as we're all talking about going to see the Titan, I think there's a limited number of people who are capable is the wrong word, cooled up enough to do that. So I don't believe the CG would just be Titan tissue samples. Do you? I think it would.
Yeah, no, it'd be tissue samples plus other bits. Probably just like, I don't know.
Spanners and clogs. Tissue samples, spanners and clogs. Yeah.
Just something that will make another cool thing, and Azimuth are like, oh, we need to know them first, and all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool.
What will you do if Azimuth have a much better prize than?
Ooh.
Well, if they can throw the money at it for that to be the case, fair play to them of trying to incentivize their nefariousness. You know, but if Aegis are also saying, hey, we can do this, and we'll also give, if we do this and we do the research, we'll give the big shiny toy that we're planning to the top 75% of commanders, as well as whatever Azimuth are doing. If Azimuth are like, we'll give you a paint job, and Aegis are like, we'll give you a paint job, I'm going to get an Aegis paint job. I don't give a shit about an Azimuth paint job, so that's quite cool. But I'd rather it be something like a paint job than anything like huge, because let's face it, canonically, Azimuth has had to throw a lot of money into maintaining hold of Hind Mine. They've said this is canonically, as far as Galnet is concerned, they are spending a lot of money on that. With their resources diminishing in the way that they are, and the lack of support that they now have from the superpowers in place of Aegis, surely Aegis are the people who are more financially secure and fiscally able to provide better rewards.
Okay, good analysis. Very true, though. Yes, of course, because Aegis have got the support of the 3 superpowers, so they should be.
They should be rolling in it.
Indeed.
But then again, because they were rolling in it, that was one of the things that they were able to exploit, because they said there was a lot of wastage. Anyway, right, Wednesday, the 12th of June, the Thargoid. Wednesday, the 12th of June? That's Monday, the 12th of June, surely. The Thargoid deportation program was approved. So this is the Federation talking to the Alliance said, well, if you're offering this lot of religious nutters amnesty, we'll just send them your way. And yeah, so that's it.
Yeah,
the Thargoid are off to the Alliance, and unless they stay in hiding, where then they'll be probably caught and shot.
What are the Empire doing with their Thargoid worshippers?
Probably caught and shot.
The Empire still have them?
I thought they did. I think that if they're keeping quiet.
Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I thought I was fully under the impression that the feds were like, yeah, no, that's fine. I thought the Empire had already gone, hey, you don't follow our. When MPEXIT happened, they yeeted everyone who wasn't the allies to the Empire out of Empire space to some extent. Did they not? I thought that the Thargoids went with them, with those who were expelled. I don't know for certain whether that's the case, and if there are still Thargoid folks in Empire spots.
Yeah, we'll have to do some research. Find out what happened to the Thargoid cult in the Empire. I think you're right. I think one of the powers just said, right, no, we're not having you religious extremist.
Wasn't it like the Empire conflated that old NMLA equals all like NMLA were Thargoid sympathizers as well, and because the NMLA were hiding on the Thargoid ships at one point, or they took over the Thargoid ship, didn't they?
Yeah, they took it hostage. The Thargoid cult actually had nothing to do with it, but what was it? Theta Alpha or something?
Theta 7. He was on the Sacrosanct.
Yes,
and
hiding out.
I don't know where the Sacrosanct is now. I don't think it's in Empire space, or if it's didn't it explode because he exploded?
I thought he oh no, there's a thing. Oh, I mean, we're going back.
I'm being told
yes,
here, by my law guy is telling me yes.
Right.
So I will trust her implicitly on this.
Right. Okay. Well, we will believe a psychic law person, and we will assume that the Thargoid cult has lost a megaship. Although I remember there being a community goal where they would have one megaship to stay in the bubble, and the other two would go out trying to talk to the Thargoids.
That didn't go well.
Yeah. No, that's different from the Kingfisher. It was something else. They've disappeared. I can't remember whether or not they've actually disappeared or whether or not they were sabotaged. But yeah, never mind. Right. Well, that's it for the in-game events this week. The Thargoid War has remained pretty static, so there's been no new Thargoid gains, but there's been a few reclaims by the humans, quite a few actually. So we're beginning to push back a little, but as people are finding, the more that we're pushing in, the more difficult it is getting.
We think there's going to be 3 invasions at most, so they'll be cleared probably by Thursday evening next week.
So yeah, it's pretty it's pretty static at the moment. So we'll just have to wait and see if Frontier decide to turn the screw.
I did have a look, by the way, at after Ian Doncaster was on last week. I did follow his thread, and there was indeed weirdness as predicted. Unpredictable weirdness as predicted.
What was the unpredictable weirdness?
Well, it was just like, he was talking about the priority list of targets, and it did indeed skip some items on the priority list for reasons that they don't fully understand. So yeah, still something odd going on there.
Yeah, if community works out this plan, then do something weird to throw them off the scent.
Yeah, it's probably just that. Probably somebody sticking their finger in and swirling it around a bit. This will mess up Ian Doncaster.
He thinks he knows everything. Click. Oh dear.
Predict this.
Right. Well, it is that time of the week again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your
And welcome back. Well, we have, if you're a fan of the Python, that big long cheese wedge, then we have a surprise for you. We have pop art paint jobs for the Python, which is effectively lots of stripy lines. There's 5 of them. Yeah. Don't know about you guys, but this one really isn't doing it for me.
I like them. I think they're really striking, actually. I love the sort of sunburst effect from... Certainly in that screenshot. Maybe the false perspective is making it seem cooler than it really is, but...
Yeah.
Are those stripes parallel, or is it a sunburst? I assume.
No, it's a sunburst.
Yeah, it is. Cool.
Yeah, there's a basically a sunburst coming out, and you can get it in various colours of orange and white and blue, and orange, well, sort of yellow, blue, and white, and various. Well, that looks like a tequila sunrise, the one with the the one with the all orange, yellow, and basically more orange.
As pointed out by Napilios in chat, they are indeed asymmetric, not symmetric, which may disturb some people. I quite like it, actually. But
yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe one of the others will grow on me. Maybe the orange one will. Might get tempted by the orange one. Pop art wham, that one's called. Oh, like this. They're called Biff, Smash, Wham, Bang, Smack, and Pow. Has somebody been watching too much of the old Batman TV series?
Well, that's what they're sort of like designed based on those colour schemes and stuff like that. Although I do think that they're starting to take the piss with these stripes now. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I was desperately looking through them, going, "Oh, come on! There's got to be at least one."
Not even
match.
slightly. Not even slightly. And you remember how we talked about? I think it's only 3 colours that they can use. Some of these motherfuckers are 4, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, I mean the Smash one definitely is. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So, yeah. Oh, so that's the Python. If you wish, yep, they're there for your viewing pleasure. And I guess we'll move on. We'll move on for a proper proper ad break, and we'll come back with some discussion.
Listen here, ladies. While your man is out and about bringing home the bacon, you need to make sure you look your best, which is why we present to you our Lady Shave. It's small enough to fit into your dainty lady hands and releases a perfumed scent as you cut away that ghastly body hair.
Listen here, ladies. Say no to substandard shaving. At Saracen, we believe a woman deserves a shave as good as a man's. Introducing the Panther Clipper for women. Gone are the days of your unruly body hair making you look like a bedraggled alpaca. The Panther Clipper is the biggest, baddest shaver credits can buy. And now, it's available in pink. A shave so smooth you'll need a tighter Dominator suit. The new Panther Clipper Lady Shave from Saracen. It's exactly what you've been asking for. In pink.
Before I also went off and died.
Tasty, tasty cannibalism.
I'll be the least likely to die. He died first.
Yeah, I've never before discovered plants.
We here at the Lavian Centre of Dubious Science have had enough of those idiotic numbskulls polluting your airwaves with nonsensical utterations, mindless articulations, and downright vacuousness. Our premier linguistic experts, psychologists, and scientists have collaborated for years to find the perfect antidote for such silliness, and are proud to present Professor Pepcap's Miracle Elixir. Our closely guarded recipe is designed to target the sensibility triggers nestled within the frontal lobe of the cerebrum and gently caress the cerebellum, meaning that clumsiness, terrible decision-making, lewd comments, and rare but fun rants are a thing of the past. Place one drop under the tongue when you wake up and one just before sleep, and settle into an elevated state of practicality that's more suited to the responsible commander. Professor Pebcap's Miracle Elixir. We've not tested it yet, but we're sure it'll do the job just fine.
Hey kids, it's Azimuth Biotech. And we're here to tell you some sad news. Our knuckleheads down at the Starshine Imaginarium were a bit too true to life when they made the new Hunter class of Tickle Me Thargoid. And on the advice of our lawyers, Azimuth Biotech is asking for all of you to return your Tickle Me Thargoid Glaves to your nearest toy store to receive a full refund. We would also like to offer our heartfelt condolences to the Jones family in HIP 71682 and invite them on an all-expenses-paid trip to Hind Mine in Titari so that our top scientists can do everything they can to save little Astrid's sight. Keep your eyes peeled for a Titanic surprise coming to a toy store near you soon. This has been a message from Azimuth Biotech. Remember, you owe us.
So how come I'm getting South Park vibes from that last advert?
So when you give me free rein to do shit, I get really dark.
It's great.
Oh dear. Well, as there's not been much happening or much movement on the Thargoid front for a couple of weeks, we thought we'd catch up with all the questions that we've been asking you for the last quite a while, because we had Ian on last week. We all got involved. We all got captivated by his Thargoid analysis. So we have two weeks worth of questions to catch up with, and we'll start with the one from 2 weeks ago, which was basically your favorite mission type. So, I mean, this one actually got a lot of traction going. We got Elvis Kremen. Kremen. Why are we doing Kremen? He's a fan of the Elite Wing Massacre ship missions, which are fun. But he says they're fun to do, but he does enjoy a settlement massacre mission as well. You get the impression that he's a bit of a murder hobo.
100%. He 1,000% is. Yeah, I mean, there's now wrong with the settlement massacre mission. Fully on board with that.
And being true to form, Elvis has just joined us on a settlement massacre mission.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, well, one of the things that I did find out is that there are legitimate ship massacre missions where you can take out. You are supposed to take out freighters and things like that full of innocent civilians, and that's in an outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
And and didn't know that. I discovered that watching someone's stream over the weekend. I will find out and remember at some point, but I completely forgot that is an option, and it's disturbing.
Yeah, I remember doing those kind of missions and feeling very, very wrong in doing it.
You kind of feel a bath. You need a bath after that.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, I did just go off and kill a bunch of adders, so hey.
Yeah, true. But yeah, adders says it all. Right. Kitiana does like a covert assassination mission, which is effectively a quick electric shock to the backside and then home for breakfast.
Can I chip in on that? I'm curious about that. I've never actually tried the thing of electrocuting people. Is it?
Have
quite
you not?
effective?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. As long as they don't have their shields on. If you're being a sneaky bitch, you can sneak up behind someone, use whatever button it is that you have to change the
It's the overcharge. What is it?
Yeah,
Overload
yeah,
mode?
the other one.
Yep.
The other one. the one that's illegal. You walk up behind them and just give them a quick tase. They do unfortunately die from it because there's no differentiation. Once a person is on the ground, they are dead because of ratings and all of that stuff. But it's a fun alternative.
So it's a one shot for a shieldless NPC.
Yes, it is. It's fantastic. Have you ever played? Oh my god, Deus Ex.
No.
What?
You've never played Deus Ex?
No.
Neither have I.
Shame on the pair
God.
of you.
Nah, far too many other games to play.
Oh, you're missing out. I'm sorry.
It's a great series. It's a great series. I mean, the original one is very old now.
Yeah, I mean they've done revamp, but the stealth missions in especially Human Revolution, they're absolutely fantastic, and it reminds me of a lot of those sneaky around and zap people with one thing, but you just knock them out. You don't actually kill people. But it's oh dear, yes, it's very good. Put it that way.
Or add that to my playlist.
And it'll probably be very cheap because it's an old game now. But it's still pretty good.
The newer incarnations of it are okay, but not quite as good.
No, I think the first one with the new protagonist, what's his name?
I just remember feeling the most recent one, I think.
Oh yeah, the most recent ones was
it was fun, and then I was just suddenly, hold on, they just stopped the game. And it felt very...
Yeah, you know why?
Because the development studio ran out of money and stopped doing it or something?
No, because the entire plan was to have a second game carrying that on.
And that plan went out the window.
And that plan went out the window when it didn't sell as well.
Oh, for God's sake.
And one of the reasons it didn't sell so well is because everybody
There's only half a fucking story.
Exactly. There you go. Oh, and also it had pay to win in a single player game.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yes. There was these bonuses that you could get by effectively buying credits, which would unlock stuff in the game that you couldn't get otherwise. And people just took one look at that and went. Anyway, we've gone on a tangent. So back to Freya Crescent, who also loves sneaky missions, especially ones where you're being patient really pays off. The hardest ones are where you have to sneak data into a military settlement, and you can't get scanned even once. I really need to try the ship-based megaship missions, though. Still got to try them. Yeah, I must admit that's the ones I'm scared of doing.
What, the sneak stuff in?
Sneak stuff in, yeah. Especially the ones that are that hard.
They're really tricky.
Yeah. It's just yeah.
Is this where you have to upload data?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever uploaded some data.
Can we take just very, very quickly? Ben, how you doing? Okay, cool. Good to know. Anyway, back to where you are. For anyone who might be listening at this current moment, Ben is let's paint a word picture of what's happening to Ben at the moment. He's constantly falling through the floor, then respawning, I think, in the concourse and instantly falling through the floor again. Is that fair to say?
Oh wow!
It's definitely a glitch in the Matrix.
God, it's just like Star Citizen.
It'll be like Starfield in like a couple of months as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, yeah.
Well, remember Starfield is by Bethesda. Give it 6 months; it'll be all right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, it took
Who would say that at launch? Fucking everyone.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's definitely Tom Petty free falling right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not very good at these missions at all. Like the ones where you have to sneak data in and those kind of stuff. I kind of tend to choose it a fair amount, and you know what? Let's just stick to the stereotype. I will kill everyone on that base and then sneak the data in, because if there's no one to scan you, if there's no witnesses, you're fine. So I think sometimes you have to not kill people. I don't think I do those very often.
Yeah, because there is a mission variant where it says you're not allowed to kill any fatalities, and it's an automatic mission fail.
Those are really tricky.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd manage them, Psyche. I really do.
Patience, as Freya says, being patient and taking your time and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I suppose neither of anybody here has played Thief.
Well, I have.
I've heard of it.
That's going back a bit, isn't it?
Yes. Well, they did some. It reminds me very much of that kind of gameplay, which I think is great. That the fact that they've managed to get in stealth mechanics or that kind of thing, which gives you that same kind of I'm scared to move feeling.
Yeah.
You played any of the Hitman games again, like very, very quickly? Because I always feel when I'm doing these sort of like sneaky missions that I am the full embodiment of Agent 47. I definitely don't look like it as I'm using my jetpack to jump across buildings and all of that shit. But I feel like I'm doing my best Agent 47.
I think I've picked up a couple of those on free
Game Pass. Get them on Game Pass. It's very good.
I've got them free on Epic or something like that. So I've heard good things about them, but I've never played.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I like with Elite, I try and like compare different gameplay loops to different games because we all want to do that. We obviously will
there's
sort
nothing
of like
wrong with that. It's healthy.
We'll do that, but there is something about like stealing the data or stealing a pass from someone without getting noticed that you're stealing their authority and those kind of things. Obviously it's the whole thing that Hitman is about, but I definitely when I'm being super stealthy and those kind of things, I get like that full, it gives me that Hitman fix so I don't have to load Hitman.
There's a reason why Kill 10 Rats is a trope.
I don't.
RPG missions and things like that. You always
exactly.
In that, yeah.
I always like Hitman when you actually manage to kill the target in a very ironic way, like dropping a chandelier on them or dropping a grand piano on them. I think that's great, and it looks like an accident.
Yeah, when I mean, Elite is really good at like creativity in murder as well, like plopping different ships on top of people and running folks over in your SRV and blowing them up next to a barrel, all of the good stuff. We don't talk about barrel situations at the moment, but yeah, it's cool.
My favorite, lobbing an unknown probe at them.
Yep, that too. So many different things you can do. It's fantastic. Don't waste a dime.
I suppose the best thing that we've got to try and do is get Alec Turner in your SRV. You've got to drop one of those Guardian orbs and then use knock the Guardian orb over guards like Skittles.
Oh my God.
With a Guardian orb.
We call that the strike. It's got to have a better name. The SRV strike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, if you only managed to get half of them down.
I mean, I must admit, driving around an SRV and playing Punt the Pirate is really quite fun. Safina says that they haven't done any on-foot missions that require shooting because they're neither good at FPS nor do they enjoy it very much. However, what they do enjoy are evacuations, including the added mini-game of trying not to have an open cabin/cargo space when leaving. It's not always possible, unfortunately.
I love that. I love the fact that that they've picked up on that because it's you know, when you manage to fill a glass and you just have that bubble or something over the top of it, like those satisfying videos.
Yes,
it's the equivalent of that, and I love it.
You know what? The thing about the mini game of cargo spaces that's just made me think, because Katiana was complaining that our reference points are a little bit last century. This mini game reminds me of this brilliant new game I've heard of called Tetris. Has anyone played it? It's fantastic.
I don't know. I've only got like multiple clones on my phone, on my smartphone that I bought like last year. But still probably better graphics. Yeah, it's really good. That's really fun.
Yeah. Commander John Thomason, repair and rescue scenarios from the megaships after a Thargoid attack. Although I often end up in the rebuy screen if a Medusa does show up, but they are great fun. I can attest to this because I did one of those a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I went to the big rebuy in the sky again, but it was still fun while I did it. And it was so close. I was almost there, and I almost got everybody I needed to rescue, but then zap, and that was it. They are. I will pass that mission as one of the things that I'm attempting to do. We've got LOL Trek. His favourite mission at the moment is the AX reactivate and raids and defense missions, which aren't in the works at the moment. So yes, well, I suppose we've got to talk about the new mission then that came out 15, because that's got combinations of a lot of the stealth mechanics that we were talking about earlier, where you can't get caught, but then when you do get caught, yeah,
they're great. They really are good, actually. I enjoy those a lot.
I know.
They're really fun. I wish you could park closer.
You can. That's part of the fun. Is trying to sneak your SRV in.
I wish you could park closer and not have to take your SRV in.
Oh,
park my ship closer, not the SRV. I really need to build a ship that is specific for this. It's on my to-do list, but
this is coming from the same person who likes to stick the nose of their ship in to scan
Yeah.
The SRV is you seem to have a pathological aversion to using the SRV.
It's not that. I love using the Scorpion. I think the Scorpion is great. I get turned around in the SRV so often that I lose track of where I'm going, and I find it and I know that obviously a lot of the time when I play Elite Dangerous, I am doing it with other people watching my content, and I know that my sister is there a lot, and I know that she feels kind of sick when I do the SRV stuff. So I think my aversion to the SRV stems from the fact that for the same reason that I definitely would never stream in VR, because I move my head around too much. I don't want to make people proper ill.
Well, please, Frontier, don't make these missions doable without an SRV.
I'll just start.
Let's go and do some different missions.
It's basically me complaining that I've every ship that I take, I go to load into the SRV, and I'm like, I've packed a Scorpion and not a Scarab. God damn it! Or the other way around. I packed a Scarab and not a Scorpion.
Yeah.
But. And that's my. So I'm basically raging out my own ineptitude in this. Can I just say the Commander John Thomason, the rescue scenarios, repair and rescue scenarios for megaships. I have never done one of those, and that sounds really fun. I didn't even know that they existed, so I might have to go and check those out. What are you rescuing? You just like hatch break and then grab escape pods? Is that the thing?
Effectively, yeah. While under by Thargoids. There are specific scenarios. You normally find them in Maya or in a lot of the Imperial capitals, and they're left over from, I think, the first Thargoid incursion. They were never removed from the game when they should have been, and thank goodness that they did, because that's how the AXI got their anti-Thargoid fixed for quite a while, and they are hard. And like I said, I've tried about 4 or 5 times, and every time I almost make it, but rebuy screen.
Awesome.
Yeah. PK7. They do enjoy a high-level pirate takedown mission. Bring out the FDL for the quick attacks on large ships is always a lot of fun. Yeah, I must admit, now that I'm actually going back through the mission boards, I'm rediscovering a lot of missions that I really enjoy. I mean, I probably overdid them, but since Odyssey and Another Thargoid Wars come along, it's kind of cleansed the palette, and I'm going back and rediscovering some of these things, which is really good.
It is great. There really are loads, aren't there? I mean, we're spoiled for choice, really.
Yeah, you begin to feel how much how much is actually in there that, to tell you the truth, we don't do.
No.
Normally, people just say, for instance, if you're doing your BGS, you do for just the missions which will give you the most influence, and you ignore all the others. And it's a kind of, you're missing out on some really fun gameplay.
Do you not think a good way to solve that would be to maybe have follow-on missions pop up more frequently? So you do so people are doing the sort of missions they like, so people do their favorites, and then have it that quite often you get offered a follow-on mission which pays really well and is pretty much a random selection from all the other mission types available. So you just sort of get this little tease occasionally to go and do one of these missions that you've never done before. We'll make it really worth your while.
Yeah, I mean that would be nice.
I like that idea.
That would be nice. I mean, they've tried it with chain missions before, but they always seem to be triggered by a certain set of parameters, and yeah. Or even better, the tips. Sometimes you get tips in the
make those just pay about 10 times more than they do.
Yeah, you get tip-off missions which appear in your comms window, and I just wish sometimes that there'd be more of them.
I'll pay you 5,000 credits if you'll go and do this really inconvenient thing that's out of your way. No, it's all right.
Sometimes, so they really miss the mark. Like I've been doing a fair amount of bounty hunting, and like filling all different BGS buckets, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we like the mission that they offer me doesn't really, or I get a tip off like from Azimuth Biotech who are like, do you want to come and do some work for us, Commander? And I'm like, I am hostile to you. Like the bar is a dot. There is no, like, what's the beneath hostile to you? But no, they're still offering like a tip off mission. And it's just been really weird.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I was there for absolutely ages, hoping that this was a pipe dream, that maybe if you get a tip-off mission in Shinata Desra and you are fully aligned with the Dark Wheel, you'll get something which will take you somewhere. But no, found that, nothing. But you get these wild ideas in your head, and they might have. Rocky Star says, he's someone after your own heart, Psychic. You can't beat a good old settlement massacre mission. You got to keep Harry in business. Don't know why I did that in a Yorkshire accent. But
I don't know why you did. I don't think I've met Rocky, and I would be remiss to be able to tell you what his accent sounds like because I'm not good at accents or whereabouts in the UK that he's from. But he is lovely, but he does not sound like that.
Ah, dear. Commander Anuk. Soloing wing massacre missions is his favourite. Her favourite. Their favourite. Flying a vet by the seat of their pants. 07. Yeah, it's pretty much full on zappy stuff there.
Yep.
They can be a bit overwhelming though. Like a wing massacre mission, when you drop in and there's 9 ships all shooting at you, even if you're in a Corvette, I'm sometimes like, I might have bitten off a tiny bit more than I can chew right now. It's a good job I've got all of these shield cell banks and a hecton of everything else. But I mean, it's scary.
Yeah, I don't think I've got a ship that can take those things on at the moment. So yes, I need to do some more rank grinding, I think. Ah, dear. Dan Technic. Rescue missions and settlements that are being attacked by Thargoids is incredible. Possibly the most atmospheric experience of any game for me. Watching the war rage around you as you come into land and leave is just chef's kiss. I think that's what it is. So yeah, I must admit the the Thargoid rescue missions. I mean, is that because the base is on fire at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah, they are
all the
good.
combat going along outside as well. And more specifically, that is something that you can do to help out the war with a completely stock ship as well.
Yep.
I have done it with stock ships to prove that it's possible on multiple occasions. Is it possible now if you get hyperdicted by glaives? We might need to science that and find out.
Yeah,
I suppose
I
the
know.
nice thing with these rescue missions as well is they're, once you've done a few and if you're in the right ship, they're relatively easy. So they give you plenty of time to sort of take it all in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're fully engaged in Thargoid combat missions, then I think it's quite hard to just chill. But with rescue missions, you come flying in and you can look left and right, and yeah, they're great, very atmospheric.
Yeah. Then we have Claire Bloodwind, who sent a video that is linked to the replies in the tweet, which is deciphering the Guardian lexicon.
Yeah,
Now,
so
I
it's
forgot
not
about
something
these.
that's not something that I've ever done. Is that like the Ramtar mission things?
There are 2 special Ramtar missions. There is effectively deciphering the logs that are hidden in a lot of the the structures that glow blue.
Yeah, the obelisk things.
The obelisk things. You can scan them.
It used to be quite hard, didn't it? Because don't you have to have? Wasn't the thing where they upped the SRV limit from 2 to 4? Didn't that change those missions fundamentally and make them much easier? Don't you have to have certain combinations of things in your hold when you scan it to make it work?
Yes, there was.
Really? Oh, that's fascinating.
And the worst thing about that is that some of them include samples of various Thargoid inceptors.
That's really fascinating.
Oh yeah, it's available on the Canon website. There was the first one, which was basically deciphering the Guardian logs, and then the other one was basically to start unlocking the blueprints. And yeah, they were really, really good.
Is that still something that you can do? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, still you can do it. You have to land at the two bases in Ramtar's system, and every time you land, it's like you land near Palin's base, and you get a mission from Palin to go and get Thargoid samples, which was one of the easiest missions to get because there was a crashed scout not that far away that you used to just be able to scoop up stuff and take stuff back to him. But the Ramtar missions were far more involved. Put it this way, Canon have got 2 massive codex pages assigned to it. They really are worth your time, I think.
I mean, it's a mission. It's one to do. So yeah, absolutely. Holy nuts! That sounds really fun.
Yeah, but they were really fun. But the one issue is that once you've done it once, you don't really need to do it again.
That's what that. It's a lot of the Guardian shit. It's so beautiful and so cool and so gorgeous looking. But once you've done enough of them to get all your blueprints and shit that you need, I got blueprints coming out the wazoo. I've done it so many times. I could probably get 6 more fighters, I think, at this point. But it's like there's only 3, and that's such a beautiful, it's such a cool alien experience. But once it's done, it's done. I'd love for something to happen with the Guardian sites. I know I'm going off topic, but I'll be lush.
I wonder whether or not the Guardians will get involved in this Thargoid Maelstrom thing at some point. That we'll have to get involved again.
It'd be cool, wouldn't it? If sorry, I was just thinking while you were. It'd be cool if something that you got from Guardian stuff, for example, the key that you get from the Guardian beacons. It'd be quite cool if certain bartenders, maybe slightly, dodgier bartenders than your average bartender, would trade you those a bit like a map, a mat broker. Do I mean map broker? Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
For give you much better deals. So you could take 2 Guardian keys and go to the right dodgy bartender, and he'll give you 20 pharmaceutical isolators for them or something. That'd be
Yeah.
quite cool, wouldn't
And finally, from a certain Darren Hall, hello, is anybody know?
Which one's he?
What you want to do is you want to pronounce his surname correctly, and then you might people might recognize it. But by all means.
Yeah.
It's okay. I wasn't even going to pick up on Colin calling Clara Claire.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's Colin. We accept these things.
Moving on. Right. He says, I personally like taking passenger missions in my beluga and letting everyone in the system chat know that I'm the top 1% of all passenger liners. Hashtag self-promotion. Hashtag respect the hustle.
I'm so angry at him for doing hashtag respect the hustle. You've got, like, he doesn't have any idea how much my wrath can go for that.
This has now also led to a conspiracy theory that all cruise liners are not piloted by AI, as previously proposed, but they're actually all Darren just going left, right, and centre, which would explain why he looks so knackered. Is he still in the chat? He may have run away.
I'm sure Darren Hall isn't on the chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably not.
I just realised there's a mission missing off this list. There's the unofficial mission of massacring wedding barges every time that bloke goes, oh, I'm not sure I can go through with it.
Well, if you can't go for it, you know what the situation is. It's time to die.
Well, it's on Death Tour's part, but we're going to be preemptive there.
Well, grow a pair, Jesus. If you're not sure you can go for it, you either tell her and get it over with, or you are sure that you can do it. So friggin' indecisive.
Wow, where did this come from? This is something pushed Claire's buttons here. Right. Anyway, on to question 2. My God, have we made this last?
I mean, no, we haven't. We've just discussed people's answers, which is the whole point of these, is to like engage with folks who want to write in and say stuff, and I love it.
Who needs a main discussion when you've got all this great?
Yeah, exactly. Wonderful stuff.
Well, the question. I was about to say the question in question. Oh, jeez. The question is, how would you want the Thargoid War to resolve? Funny you should mention the Guardians, because the Wintermute wants the Guardians to come rescue humanity at the 11th hour after a direct request from Salvation. Happy face.
Definitely want the Guardians involved. I like that twist, but
yeah.
Then Kitiana is definitely going with the War of the Worlds twist, which is they're all going to catch cold from us humans as soon as they get out of their ship. This is a brand new idea, which I'll be registering. This is my IP. I shall call it Conflict of the Cosmos, and will be scored by Jeff Wayne. Oh,
She
Wayne
legitimately
Jeff.
says Wayne Jeff because that was a joke. I love her. She told me that she spent a long time figuring out the best way to make a comparison as well, and I really appreciate the hustle on that. That is a hustle that I can respect.
Commander Jack Little, Salvation returns, posing a threat to both humanity and the Thargoids alike. So, Jin, A, and Aegis perfect the conduit process Salvation has been working on and gave the Thargoid cultists the ability to act as What? I was going to say translators for the Thargoid race, but interlocutors?
Interlocutors. I've never heard of that word. I don't know what it means. That's why I would assume
That's
what you said.
Jack Little just showing off now. Of course, you just want to burn the bubble psychic.
Yeah. Interlocutors, interlocutors, basically intermediaries, or that kind of idea.
Nice.
Well, fair enough. As does Commander Cedrian, who supplied the famous gif from Batman, The Dark Knight, which says there are some people that just want to watch the world burn. Epius has said, I welcome our new caustic overlords, Would love for something Guardian to come back in, or maybe some other alien race to assist. Although knowing humanity, we'd be then fighting 2 alien races. Well, this could go back to the fact that technically there's supposed to be 2 Thargoid species.
I mean, if the Guardians come to our rescue, I mean, I think we will still have a problem on our hands.
Yeah, I think if the Guardians get involved, we'll be fighting a war on 2 fronts. Everything will be fine.
Comes back in his mech suit. Is
100%, 100%. Nailed on. I am certain that that's going to happen. Can I do my little interrupt thing about things that are going on stream right now? Just again, if you don't mind, which one of you is mounting the other one? Just out of curiosity.
Well, one's in an adder, so I don't know if they're being symbolic there.
No, Chris Mark IV couldn't get onto my ship, so he called down Apex Interstellar.
Oh.
I shot the first Apex Interstellar because I had to, and then I decided, you know what, I might just basically park my ship on top of the second one as Chris gets into it. But it was taking a wee bit of effort to actually do that, so I've let Chris escape now.
Okay, excellent. Good to know. Good to know. Anyway, back to that. I just looked up and I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. I just watched the chat. I just really don't want to know what those 2 get up to. Dear. Commander Safia. Being mainly an explorer and not having many personal ties to bubble politics, I honestly just want the story to make sense. As long as nothing feels overly forced and all related storylines get resolved, I'm fine with everything.
Yep, good point. Story making sense would be nice. A satisfying conclusion, I think, is what we all want.
Yeah, 100%. That's very it's very Swiss of them, but I really like the sentiment. It's like as long as it makes sense, and there's no loose ends. Kind of same, but
To be fair, though, who doesn't want a happy ending?
Hey!
Well, you lot don't, because you wanted to burn the bubble. That's not happy.
It is for the Thargoids.
Yeah, I mean, that's a happy ending.
Well, at least it's a happy ending for one party, I suppose. Dear. Ramyu McCool says we're already in a boring stalemate. For almost 3 weeks now, there hasn't been more than a handful of systems in invasion status each week, and they're recovered in a matter of hours. Those of us rigged for bug squishing only find ourselves with nothing to do until the next tick. Actually, this is one of the things that I think, yeah, it's... I do find this, I agree with him a little bit here, because it has plateaued, and because we've got so good at getting rid of alert systems, it's kind of stopping off some of the other systems now.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to get a balance right, because we were complaining completely the other way before update 15, where everything was going awful. And
sorry.
Go on.
I was gonna say, I think we might get a dial shift, a dial shift at some point, with some accompanying Galnet articles, mainly because of having spoken to devs and like, is this a peak, or are we supposed to see it peak and then are we coming down now? And oh god, no, I'm expecting, now that we've got a handle on the meta, and I say we, like I've been mildly involved in the slightest, but you know, I'm doing my part. Ship Troopers reference. I feel like we're going to have a dial shift and it's going to ramp up again, and maybe Ian will be like, oh my god, they've invaded so many systems and no one was expecting it. That'd be really cool. Just something coming out of the blue. Or even suddenly more Thargoids just start appearing out of nowhere. They're like, oh, hey. You know that bubble that you really want to burn, Claire? Here you go.
Commander Andy Johnson says the second Thargoid race will turn up, leading to diplomatic missions, etc. Sporadic outbreaks of fighting, with the first Thargoid race seizing dozens of systems at once to keep both sides happy. Yeah, this is the theory that I had, because there's supposed to be a schism in the Thargoid race and the other Thargoids. I can't remember which was supposed to be the good Thargoids.
That's book shit, though, isn't it?
Yes, not codex. It's not codex stuff.
Yeah, so I just don't see that being implemented in the slightest, with there being a second one.
You know,
with there being a second race. In an effort to keep up the only the stuff in the codex makes sense, surely, or is lore kind of thing, or the codex, or the stuff that you can only find in game being the accurate lore and canon that you should look to. And I know that's a contentious issue, and I've said it before, and I'm not going to dwell on the subject, but I feel like in order to maintain that, I don't think that Frontier would suddenly bring in another Thargoid race. They might bring in a fringe sect of other Thargoids who are like the Thargod cult equivalent of Thargoids, where the Thargod cult are humans, and they're the ones who are like, yo, hey, we wanna have a chat and those kind of things. But there's nothing stopping that all being the same race. Lots of humans are different, have different personalities. Lots of Thargoids could be the same as well.
Of the Human Appreciation Club.
Yeah. We are the Human Appreciation Society. I don't like it. I hated it as soon as I started going.
Yeah.
So Max, well, I'm hoping it will be one easier to get involved with. Maybe improve shielding and weaponry, but he just can't get involved in the storyline because he's constantly being interdicted and destroyed and running out of fuel. So I hope that it says that the ongoing story where the cost of entry continues to decrease. Now, this one actually got me a little bit confused, because I thought the entry to this was actually quite low. I mean, maybe he's referring to the fact that the glaives have kicked in and it's now causing trouble for unmodified ships.
Yeah, I think so. I think glaive interdictions are some people are struggling with those.
Yeah, I feel like that's something. Again, we talked about it earlier with the passenger rescue missions, and I was very proudly saying that I could do them stock. I wonder if it's worth another attempt at doing a stock passenger rescue mission now that the glaives are in game, because it might change the game entirely, and Sir Max might be a lot more accurate with this now. I'd be really disappointed if there wasn't anything that you could do as a relatively entry level commander.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem, because up till update 14, I've found that even in entry level ships you could contribute, but I'm wondering whether or not the glaives have actually kicked that.
The thing is, it's such a difficult balance to achieve, isn't it? Because you've got like the anti-Xeno pros who are like, hey, we need more, we need a trickier thing, we need more stuff to happen, and then we have like new players, or not new players, or like relatively entry level players who don't have a lot of engineering, don't have a lot of a lot of experience in avoiding that, saying that they can't get involved anymore, and that's disheartening.
Loose Screws was saying, I was saying a similar thing. I feel really, I mean, Frontier are in a really tough place here. People originally you had the sort of Thargoid meta of getting through the hearts and all the sort of Guardian weaponry that you had to get, and that was quite a sort of high bar for entry, I guess. And then Frontier sort of lowered the bar by having these things that deactivate Guardian weaponry, and they gave us the sort of AX multi-cannons, and then people are sort of saying it's too easy, and then they throw the glaive into the mix, and then and now you've kind of got people saying both, the people that don't really want to fight and are getting interdicted by glaives are finding it too hard, and the people that are still waiting for their AX meta ships to be challenged are saying it's too easy. There's a real schism. It feels a bit like Frontier were trying to please everybody, and instead have ended up in a situation where they're pleasing nobody. I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people are very happy with the different styles of gameplay we have, but there's definitely people on the fringes that are not happy one way or the other.
No. Well, you're always going to get them, and they always seem to be the loudest.
That's true.
Yeah. Jump Drive Flyer says, would love a possible peaceful outcome leading to diplomatic Thargoid missions and maybe a potential Thargoid fifth column, resistance splinter cell. So basically it's the Human Appreciation Society again.
Yay, I love it. Nice, Jojo Flyer. I didn't even read ahead.
Grodin Whoop Free, a McThargoids franchise in every populated service in system, serving buns with Thargoid meat patties.
Incredible.
Yes. Martin Herbert says that the Thargoids finally get sick of having to collect materials required for their synth premium caustic missiles. They contact humans to request a no-score draw so they can concentrate on their hobby of making bonsai brain trees.
Amazing.
Love it. Good one.
Exonus, peaceably, possibly with the ability to integrate their tech with ours, similar to how we can have a Guardian SLF. No, biofighters, anybody?
I mean, I'd be down for a little Thargoid fighter. I would scoop out those Thargoid insides and whack them onto a fighter without a second chance.
Imagine if you could throw lightning, you'd be like the Emperor.
Oh man, you and what lightning hands? Oh my god.
There's Commander Cornfelian. I'm hoping humanity ends up needing to fight alongside the Thargoids, or at least a branch of them, against the Guardian AI and or Wycherley's consciousness in the Guardian network. So basically, yeah.
Love it.
Wycherley in a mech suit again. Then we get Mr. Tashworth says, this game will be brought offline far before any resolution is reached. The game is dead. Barely any players left. Yay!
Everybody drink.
Game, mate.
Fuck off.
Drink. Game is dead.
Game's dead. Hey, I love it. I think Starfield's gonna kill it as well. You know.
Yeah.
That like how No Man's Sky killed it, and Star Citizen has also killed Elite, and what are all the other space games that we have to play, which are amazing and equally awesome? They have all killed it. Just checking. Just checking. Cool.
It's dead. So obviously.
Yeah. Oh, better fucking uninstall then, shouldn't I?
Dear. And then we've got the very popular Battlestar Galactica theory, as I like to call it. Burn the bubble and then lead a fleet from Colonia to destroy it once and for all.
Are we leading a fleet to Colonia or from Colonia? Let's lead a fleet. Let's burn Colonia as well. Kremen's Respite, I'm coming for you. I'll be at the head of that. Bio waste in tow.
So overall, thank you everybody for your answers to your questions. And I'm sure I saw one which was basically the plot to Love Actually.
Probably.
Where sort of, I'm just a Thargoid standing in front of someone in the rain or something daft like that, which was quite a weird one. So, Alec, you have a mostly clueless.
I do, yes, why not? Let's throw one of my old ones in. Yeah, so if you are in the shipyard and you're stepping through your ships, and I think the default is to show you a pretty picture of your ship, if you want to toggle the screen to show you, instead of a pretty picture, it can show you a list of all the modules and your jump range and top speeds and all those jolly useful stats that we'd like to see. It's a little bit hidden, and I think a lot of people struggle with them unless you've got maybe bindings that have it on by default. The binding that does this is tucked away and given the extremely obscure name of UI nested toggle, and that is the button you can press in the shipyard to toggle between your picture of the ship and the stats. And while I'm on UI nested toggle, because I occasionally see this come up and people don't always understand what that means. If you're using HOTAS rather than mouse, or obviously we've probably all got a mouse in front of us, or most of us, but anyway, whatever. some of the options in the settings menu have both they have a plus sign on the left, and then they have the option, and you can kind of tick the option itself, either on or off, or with various sort of multi-choice options. But there's also a sort of plus button to expand that option and there are sort of sub options within it. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but hopefully people know what I mean. And this UI nested toggle button is what you can use to open that plus section. So normally what would happen is you'd navigate down to one of these plus options with the plus next to it. And if you use your primary fire, if that option has its own sort of on-off setting, for example, then all your primary fire button does is toggle the on-off, but it doesn't expand the thing. And you've got this extra UI nested toggle binding, which expands that section.
Excellent. Thank you for that. That's something I didn't know about. Well done. Right, on to the shout-outs, I think. First of all, our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv, Hutton Orbital Truckers, or if you just want the audio, go to radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander that likes a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. And we'll give shout-outs to the couple of other Elite Dangerous podcasts which are out there, which is the Guard Frequency, who do other space games as well, and of course the cheese-loving Loose Screws. So give them a wave. Following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And we'd just like to thank everybody who's chipped in the Twitch chat. And have you had many in-game commanders enjoying your murdering?
It's been myself, Chris, and Elvis who've been murdering this evening. Who was also Commander Nod, I think his name was, or something like that. Let me just get his full name. It was something like Nod. Quo! It wasn't even remotely like Nod. It was Commander Quo. I knew it was 3 letters. That's close enough, isn't it?
3 letters, 3 chords, and tons of albums. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Commander Quo was flying around, but we did invite him, but he didn't come and join us murdering people.
So special thanks, of course, go to Commander Tokuso, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have all created music for this show. But that is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can find our contact links in the home/contact us menu of the laveradio.com website. If you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, that's where you let us know. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So, thanks to Commander Psychit.
Bubble baby!
Thanks to Commander Alec Turner.
Thank you, Colin. Buckybill Race runs till Sunday, folks. Woo!
And of course, thanks to Edelweiss.
Give peas a chance.
And special thanks goes to today's tech specialist, the wonderful Chris Mark IV.
You're welcome.
So until next time, Commanders, fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this?
Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. You need a safe word. Space can be loaded. I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
There now follows a party election broadcast on behalf of federal presidential candidate LCU No Fool Like One.
The galaxy is a dangerous place, and with the upcoming Federation election, you have a choice between myself, a man of science and quiet dignity, or two career politicians who have a track record of mistakes that make us less safe, and a piratical chancer who's more concerned about the size of his erection, the Rackham Spire, than the welfare of the galaxy. There are dangers that even they could not envisage. For instance, I have information that there are scientists, naming no names, working on a highly infectious and deadly virus for which only they have the vaccine. If you vote for me as your new Federation president, I can assure you that you will be kept safe from a gruesome death. Voting for me is your only option. Fool for president!
Galnet News Digest, 13th of June 3309. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Federation deports its Thargoid problem to the Alliance. There's further evidence that the Thargoid invasion is being driven back, even without attacking Titans. And Azimuth Biotech squares up to Aegis, raising hopes of a sudden demand for Titan tissue samples.
Following a call for mercy by the Alliance last week, the Federation is to deport all members of the Thargoid cult to start new lives as Alliance citizens. With less than 8 weeks left of his presidency, Zachary Hudson may be acting with an eye to his legacy as a powerful and decisive leader. The Federation has been holding several thousand members of the cult, including many of the radical True Chapters members since October last year, when federal law enforcement seized the new Thargoid cult megaship, the Dedicant. All cult members, whether traditional Thargoid or new True Chapters, were stripped of their citizenship, making many of them stateless. Hudson said he considers that the former federal citizens in Papontia that are members of the prescribed True Chapters pose the greatest security risk and will be deported to the Alliance first. The Dedicant megaship will be used to transport the cult members, something negotiated after the cult members agreed to allow federal inspection of the cult's sacred texts. In subsequent weeks, Thargoid cult members from other federal systems will be in turn picked up and transported by the Dedicant. While Hudson can see the advantage of saving vast amounts of prison expenditure as well as getting a boost to his firm but fair reputation, Prime Minister Mahan may be wanting to demonstrate the Alliance's tolerant approach to different belief systems in the hope that more independent systems, perhaps including some of those that seeded from the Federation, will choose to join the Alliance. Mahan emphasised that criminals would not be welcome, and that security checks will be carried out on all those arriving in Alliance systems. But other than that, law-abiding members of the Thargoid cult will be welcome to take up residence in Alliance systems, subject to the local laws that may apply in each system of the decentralised superpower. The Thargoid cult played an important part in saving former Azimuth Biotech test subject D2, Seojin A, from unknown assailants suspected of working for Azimuth Biotech in March. Seo is back under the protection of Tri-Superpower Agency Aegis, where she's been revealing information about her understanding of the Thargoid's intentions. She also made the seemingly incredible claim that Azimuth Chief Caleb Wycherley, also known as Salvation, survived his destruction in the Thargoid attack in HIP 22460 as a disembodied intelligence.
Statistics provided by the Defence Council of Humanity show that humanity is beginning to win the war against Thargoids. At 1,128, the number of Thargoid-controlled systems is 5% down on its peak 4 weeks ago. With a greater focus on alert systems, shown here in yellow, only a handful make it through to the orange invasion state. The number of systems cleared, shown as the lower blue line, has increased, and that's largely a result of the headway being made on Thargoid-controlled systems, the green line at the top. As can be seen by this chart, the green bars showing controlled systems taken back by humanity has increased dramatically over the past month, while 3 months of the yellow alert systems being efficiently cleared has meant that the small number of invasion systems shown in orange has been easily dealt with each week. With no new Thargoid-controlled systems other than a few unpopulated ones that are of no interest to humanity, and with a concerted effort to expunge Thargoids from formerly human-occupied systems, the Thargoid invasion is in a slow but clear retreat. The same trend is apparent if we look at this week's systems. There are 40 alert systems, out of which a dozen, mainly unpopulated systems, are not yet clear. All 4 invasion systems were cleared in a couple of days, meaning that we'll need to wait until Thursday for more exciting combat opportunities at surface bases. 36 of the control systems are coming back into human hands. This is at least in part driven by the opportunities to defeat the Revenant skimmers that are defending captured surface bases in Thargoid-controlled systems. But those who've learned to tackle Orthrus interceptors and take tissue samples are able to make dramatic progress too. Plenty of systems are leaving the Thargoid nightmare behind and will soon be fully operational once again. Looking at the historical map of the conflict with Sol in the centre, the rapid initial advances made by the Thargoids as the 8 maelstroms arrived, followed by 4 months of steady advances, began to level off in mid-March, and since mid-May, the Thargoids have been in retreat, holding on mainly in systems previously unpopulated by humanity. Driving the Thargoids back system by system is, however, likely to take months. With the technological advances made by Aegis that allow human ships to get close to the Thargoid Titan motherships that are at the heart of each of the 8 bubbles of Thargoid activity, a research program is likely to start soon to find ways of driving the Titans away and bringing the invasion to a conclusion far more rapidly. The previous Thargoid War ended when the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm, INRA, aided by Azimuth's founder Caleb Wycherley, used biological weapons against a Titan, an act widely considered a war crime. The destruction of a single Titan was enough to drive the Thargoids away for 150 years. Despite a low-level return of Thargoids to several nebulas in recent years, Titans only returned in response to Caleb Wycherley's attempt last year to commit genocide on the remaining Thargoids.
Azimuth Biotech has released a statement saying that the Thargoid Titans open up opportunities for study and that Azimuth wants to beat Aegis to making the breakthrough in understanding how they work and what they want. Azimuth's bioscience head, Xavier Rousseau, explained that he wants to understand the technologies used to build the Titans, including its hull composition, the heat vents and the glowing yellow openings through which Thargoid interceptors and hunters emerge. Rousseau did not mention Aegis, nor did they mention that all the technological advances that have made access to the Titans possible have been made by Aegis. However, if it is planning to complete the investigations into the Titans before Aegis, it seems likely that both Azimuth and Aegis are going to have to pay well for the materials and tissue samples that can now be gathered from the Titans. Based on previous similar events, it is often the sponsor that can provide a unique reward, perhaps in the form of a ship-mountable module, that will win out. Aegis has done a huge amount to expose the Titans and to allow them to be studied. Can Azimuth now, at the last hurdle, steal the prize?
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.